Today and tomorrow we are going to be looking at new technology that comes about as a result of this war. So please make sure you have your notebooks out. There are not a lot of notes today. We're going to be looking at technology, ways of doing things that changed as a result of this war, and things that changed this war. So the first thing we're going to look at today is photography. Who can tell me what photography is? Who can tell me what photography is? Photos or images. So if I look around this room, that looks like that's an image of Heidelberg. Is that a photo? No, that's not a photo. Images of the flags for the North and the South, are they photos? No. So we need more information about what a photo is then. Any ideas? How we can describe what a photo is? It's a picture that is taken, okay. Okay, a picture taken through a camera. A picture that is not drawn. Well, that's not drawn, that's sewn. The picture has to be real, right? You're dealing with real things. It's not somebody's interpretation. It's the real image. It's what your eye would see naturally. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at. I got it. That's what we're going to be looking at today. Photography. Thank you. Ooh. Lots of people. Hannah, Laura, and Tina. So, here we go. Civil War photography. Prior to the Civil War. Prior to the Civil War, they did not have photography. How did people see, or how did people know what had happened in the past? Or what had happened on the other side of the world, or on the other side of the country, or in another state? How did they know? They would have art. Things like paintings. Yeah. People wrote about it. Okay. Now, do you guys remember when we talked about Bull Run? What was the thing that you thought was, that many of you thought was incredibly stupid for the residents in Washington, D.C. to do? Remember? What did the residents of Washington, D.C. do at the first Battle of Bull Run that many of you thought, that's stupid, why would you do that? Okay, they went to take picnics out at the battle site. And many of you are like, that's stupid. War is not something that you watch. It's not like a sport. But there's a reason why you know something about war that most people back then didn't. Because they did not have photography. They had paintings. And what we're going to look at right now are some war paintings. Paintings of war. I'm going to ask you some questions about them. So, let's take a look at the first painting. Here is a war painting. What is the first thing you see? Raise your hand. What was the first thing you saw when this picture came up? The first thing that drew your attention. Okay, you saw their uniforms with the big white X. You saw the children first? That was the first thing you saw when it popped up there? Interesting. That's not normal. There is a kid here and a baby. The flag. Most people say the flags. How many people saw the flags first? Okay. Now, why did this artist put those flags in there? Remember, this is a person painting this after it happened. The artist was not there. Why put the painting of the flags in there? To represent maybe the two sides fighting? Any other ideas? What do the flags make you feel? When you see flags for your country flying, for example, could be 4th of July. You see lots of flags along the street. In a parade, you see flags flying. How does that make you feel? Nobody has any idea. Right. Because there's a reason why all those flags are there. Yeah. Makes you feel proud. Happy? Why? Okay, it's bright. It's for your country. You're smiling in the back, Zach. Any comments? Well, I'm asking you, when you see a flag flying, regardless of if it's war or 4th of July, how does it feel on 4th of July when you see the flags flying? Proud that you're in your country. For 4th of July, it's the USA, so you're proud that you're in the USA. Let's see who's at our door. And he's back. Okie dokie. So, flags in here. The point of the artist putting these flags in here, it's the same point of why we fly flags during the 4th of July, to make you proud. This was a scene for British soldiers or British citizens, and so with these British flags flying, it's meant to make the people proud. Now, is this a realistic picture of war? I have a lot of people shaking their heads. Raise your hand to explain why this is not a realistic picture of war or scene of war. Why is it not realistic? Well, somebody painted it, that's right, but when you paint, you can paint people's pictures really well. What is it? What is different about this? Why is this not realistic? Doug. There aren't very many dead people in the picture. Okay? Well, we can look here. There's a dead person here, a dead person in the middle. So, yeah, not a lot of dead people. The yellow flag is British too. See? Not necessarily. This is not necessarily about the American Revolution. I mean, there are fighting. You see some of the other soldiers in the background here. You can see that they're referring to other fighting. Do you see much blood? This might be blood down here in this corner. But you're not seeing a lot of blood on here. Oh, he has a little bit of blood on his uniform here. But again, is it realistic? Now, is this painting, do you think the point of this painting is to show people how bad war is? When you look at this, do you go, boy, war sucks? Do you get that feeling? What do you think the feeling is supposed to be? What kind of feeling is this painting supposed to show about war? Looking at the ground won't help you get an answer. Is this showing war as negative? Something bad? Is it showing war as good? What is it showing? Yeah. Okay, maybe it's showing war is only killing a couple people, so it's not really hurting. It doesn't really hurt anybody. Okay, you're saying sad because of the women over here on the right? Which guy? This one? The guy that's sort of like, help me, sort of turning around with his hand up? Okay, maybe. Let's take a look at another picture and see what this picture is like. First of all, anybody know the main guy in this picture? Or in this painting, I should say? Yes, Napoleon Bonaparte, not Dynamite. Now, is this a realistic image of war? Does this make you think, ooh, war, death, bad? Yes. Okay, not much blood fighting. Oh, you got the fighting in the background there. Look how realistic that looks in the background. Not much there, is there? When you first see this picture, what was the first thing you saw? The horse, yeah. The horse, lighter color in the middle of the painting with Napoleon on there. Now, realistic or not? If not, why not? Somebody made some comments already, but why not? They're praising Napoleon. Hey, look at these people that were just conquered. Please, Napoleon, spare us. This guy kneeling alongside Napoleon. Napoleon is walking around with, or walking, riding his horse with his hand outstretched like, hey, everybody, I've come to save you. There are dead bodies in here. But are they the main part of the image? There are some dead bodies. But if you were looking at this quickly, would you have noticed them? No. Now, do you see blood? You see blood? I see hair on his head, personally. That's his head. He's up. He's laying down. Here's his arm, legs. He's going sort of frozen in the snow. But do you see blood spewting out at you, like from a movie? Nope. Oh, here's a bad guy. They make that bad guy look like a really bad guy. Do all bad guys look bad? In the Civil War, if you came across a Southern soldier, a Confederate soldier who wasn't in uniform, would you be able to tell? No. Is he going to look evil? No. And look at the fighting that's going on in the background. Look at all those people getting slaughtered. So realistic. Yeah, right? Oh, you see her little marks. Let's take a look at another one. Ooh, we got guns and swords in this one. Look, they're fighting. What's missing? What's missing from this painting to make it real? Hey, look, he has a gun. He's pointing it over here. We got other soldiers with swords fighting on horseback. What is missing from this image? Dead people. Hey, look, you can have battles. Yeah, battle. But is it showing the result of what a battle has to people? No, you're not seeing dead people. You're saying, hey, look, let's go. I got you in my sights. Coming at you, ready to slam the sword down, but you don't actually see the person's head being sliced open. Realistic or not? No! These are the images that people saw and learned about war from. I'm beginning to get an idea as to why people said, hey, let's go watch it take a day off, let's go have a picnic and watch it. They're not seeing the results of real war. Here's another one. First image that you see, what's the artist trying to make you focus on to begin with? The guy standing in the middle with the flag. Now, look, one guy standing there, gun in his hand, and a boy holding a flag who looks like he is wounded. If you look, he has blood. Hey, we get blood. Blood and guts. How many of you, if you were caught in the middle of a battle and you were wounded, instead of taking the energy to go get away from there, would stand there, help, say, sir, please hold me up so I can hold the flag up in the air? How many of you would do that? No, you wouldn't do that. So why is the artist obviously was not there. That's not something that you do. What's the point? What's the artist trying to do here? Why is he drawing or painting this way? Because it's not realistic. Why? Think about it. What do flags symbolize? What is he doing? Why is he doing it? To show his country is strong, okay? Any other ideas? Do you think the kid is pictured here as something that starts with an H, maybe? Do you think maybe he's sort of being heroic? Hey, look, I'm wounded, but I'm holding up the flag for my country. Is that realistic? Is it something that you might see in a cheesy movie? Yeah. Shot in the heart 7 times, but you're still trudging along to raise the flag. Sort of like in The Patriot. There's a scene on the battle scene. Everybody's falling, but I got to run through the battle, grab the flag, raise it up so that everybody sees the flag. Not. Oh, we got a dead body down here. Got a dead body. A lot of blood on that dead body? No. If you're shot and you're hacked to death with a sword or a bayonet, do you think there'd be blood? Okay, just a little bit. This is a picture from the French Revolution as they took the king and queen and chopped off their heads and all that stuff. Now, here's Napoleon again, riding his horse. Looking forward. Look at how the wind is blowing his cape. And the horse's hair. It's so realistic. But this is what people thought was real because it is what was in all the paintings that they saw. Or what about this one? It's not the captain. These are all famous ones. This is George Washington crossing the Delaware. Yes, it looks so rough, yeah. You're in this shallow little boat. The water is supposed to be icy and choppy, but you're just going to stand there right on the edge of the boat with your foot up there in pose all the way across in a snowstorm with no fear of falling into the water. Realistic? No. But when you see this, it gives you sort of a feeling, right? What kind of feelings does it give you? makes you proud of your country? Does this show honor, maybe? Is this sort of like a glorious thing that's happening? So, hey, look at how glorious war is. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, all of these paintings are what people learned war from. Now, if we put in, take all of your ideas and all the things that we looked at, war scenes and paintings. This is what people saw war as. War was glorious. It's victorious. You never lose in a war battle scene. In a painting, you win all the time. It's honorable. Even though I'm a dying child, I'm going to hold up my nation's flag as a symbol for all to see. All you see is victory. You don't see somebody painting a scene for their country with nothing but dead bodies for their country, with blood gushing everywhere, heads chopped off. You don't see that. People thought that is what war was like. Those artists weren't at the scenes. Those artists painted the pictures 10, 15, 20, 100 years after the fact. They didn't see what it was like. They just wanted to make it seem glorious, victorious, where, hey, we win. We always win. So it'll be good to go have a picnic and watch us win. Beginning to see why some people thought it was a good idea to go have a picnic? Did they have any real concept of what war was like? No. Until you get a new invention. Photography. When photography, you see real images of real people. This is the first major war that had photography, that had cameras, to show people what war was like. And you know what they did? They took those pictures and they put them on display and charged people money to come see it in a little gallery. It's like going in a museum. Pictures of the war. It's the first time people actually saw what war was really like, besides being there in person. Like those idiots from Washington that went out and watched. For the first time, you actually see the real human face of death. Not an artistic rendition of it, but the actual faces of people that are dead. When somebody dies, they're not just sitting there going, closed eyes, closed mouth. They look like that at funerals because a makeup artist has gone through and adjusted their face and put on makeup to make them look like they used to look. Oftentimes, it's more like a contorted face like this. Mouth open, jaw to the side. They put it in magazines. They would have little displays up, galleries. 10 cents, come in and see the images from Antietam. Remember Antietam? Bloodiest single day in the Civil War. McClellan figured he had so many troops, he'd sacrifice them because he outnumbered Lee 2-1. So he just kept sending line after line after line to their death. That could be a glorious painting if you don't show the soldiers dying. Now, I have some images coming up from the war. If you're squeamish and don't want to look, you do not have to look. Okay? There are some that are worse than others. first one is that of a camera. This is what the camera looked like. You had to stand still for a long time, so dead bodies are real good subjects of cameras because they don't move. So that's what the camera looked like. Now here come the actual images. This picture is actually on the back wall right now. And can anybody tell me what this is? Can anybody tell me what this is? Take a look. If need be, I'll zoom in for you. Victor? It's not a funeral. It's not a funeral. Yes, sir? They're cutting off the guy's leg. That's the doctor right there with his saw in hand. The person is laying there. This guy here is holding the leg. He's getting ready to saw it off. This is a hospital tent. We're going to talk about that. We're not going to have time today. We'll do it tomorrow. We'll talk about medicine and what medicine was like during this war. So there's that one. Can anybody tell me what's happening in this picture? Yes. That's right. He's being embalmed. Person that died, removing the blood, replacing it with preservatives. Yep. This was the morgue. Here's where the fluids are being taken out. Notice how sanitary the conditions are in this medical facility. Would you like to have an operation there? Getting ready to amputate that leg. Using what is called ether or chloroform here to knock them out so that they can chop off the leg due to injury. That is the operating room. Hey, you guys got a table around? Yeah, okay, let's use it. No masks. Just going to go for it. They did not have anything to really dull the pain. That's why they tried to knock you out with chloroform or ether, I should say. Put you to sleep. Temporarily. Here's a hospital. Hey, look, we got flags to make it cheery in here. Look, oh, we're taking a picture. Everybody get out of your bed, sit next to it in uniform. Everybody look happy. And here you're missing some legs. Amputation was the biggest surgical operation that was performed during this war. And we'll talk about why tomorrow. This is the waiting room. Waiting to go into surgery. Look at the ground. Sanitary? Healthy? Good for your wounds? Could you imagine when it rained? Not necessarily just stinky, but muddy in your wounds. After the battle, and you don't have to write after the battle. We are done with the notes on photography, basically. Just hold on. Don't put things away. Do not put things away. These are the more gruesome pictures. If you are squeamish, if you don't want to look, please don't watch. So, after the battle images. These soldiers were shooting off away from this fence. The fence was their protection. Oftentimes, Well, here you see face here. Uh, Lining up the dead bodies to dispose of. Oftentimes you will notice their guns have been taken. Their guns could have been taken by the enemy so that they would be supplied. Remember, the South's army, the Confederate Army, was always short of supplies. What might those people in the background be doing? Those of you that are looking. Could be taking supplies, could be guns, could be boots. Boots were in very short supply. So, especially boots that fit. So you were always looking for boots and guns. This is one of the grossest pictures, especially if you look at the dead soldier's face in the foreground. His mouth open. You can even look at how his hand is sort of clenched or in sort of like a clawing position. These images were on display for people to pay to come and see. This was their first view of what war really was like. These were a stark contrast to what they saw in the paintings. And if you notice, some of these people have no shoes or no boots anymore because they were taken. These are authentic, real, actual photographs taken after Antietam and some other battles. This is actually a very famous picture, supposedly of this sniper guy. You see the rifled musket there and hat. That really wasn't his gun. The photographer always carried a gun with him to lay it next to the bodies, and he posed the body. The photographer actually moved the body, positioned the leg and the head and everything to get a better picture, and put down the gun so that it was in the picture as well. Not the same kind of feelings as in the paintings, is it? These are not as gory. These are pictures of the actual weapons that were being used. Cavalry here. I thought it was interesting to show this picture of some Southern children dressed up in Confederate uniforms, as some Confederate soldiers are coming across. Let's play soldier. War is cool. Here's a picture, a photograph of what ship? Fire's database has been updated. Has this rotating turret in the middle. Would not be the Merrimack. Merrimack was the remade wooden ship. It is the Monitor. The Monitor. There it is, zoomed in. Boop. Here's a close-up of the Monitor. Notice they don't all have shoes. They're playing games. I don't know if I would want to be on that ship barefoot in the summer sun. Ouch, he's right. Why are these men out on deck? Why aren't they underneath? They're in the turret. For air? If they're inside, it's like an oven. Could you imagine being out in the summer sun in a metal shack for any extended period of time? Not very comfortable, so you go out on deck. These are actual Union soldiers. Yes, Victor. The Monitor was a ship, so it moved, yeah. It had an engine. Here's one of the cannon, one of the smaller cannons of the time. Here's a bigger one. This, I believe, was the defenses around, possibly around Richmond. These are the kinds of guns that, because McClellan had a case of the slows, these are the kinds of guns that were allowed to be put in place to protect Richmond as he was coming up during the, which campaign was that? What was the name of the campaign where McClellan had a case of the slows and he made it up to Richmond but couldn't take it because they had enough time to put these guns in place? The Peninsula Campaign. Good. Here's another gun. Notice, it's on these wheels so that it can rotate around to shoot in various directions. Again, muzzle loader. There's the ramrod right next to it. Seriously, that is the ramrod. Muzzle loading, just like the rifled musket. This was the first war that cities were targeted. Civilians were targeted. Let's bomb the entire city until it surrenders. Don't pack up. Do not pack up. I've already said that once. If I need to, I will start covering the clock so that people can't look at the clock. Just like in math class. This is the first war that cities and civilians were targeted. Not just the armies, but the men, women, and old people and children in the cities. Let's bomb the city until they say we give up. Look at the devastation on this city. Not much left standing. Now, there was a prison, a southern prison for northern soldiers. These are nasty. Here's the prison. It's basically a bunch of tents in an open area with a fence around it, with guards. There's a little stream that went through it. The stream is what you use to get water, but the stream is also what you use to do your business in. Here it is, full of people, no room. Basically, you had 1 foot square of space that was yours. You didn't get food very often, and when you did, people stole it. Here's a better picture showing you how crammed they were. They crammed about 10 times more people in it than what was supposed to be in there. South was short on supplies in general, so they didn't feel they needed to give a lot of supplies to captured Union soldiers. As a result, this gets graphic. This gets very graphic. Here's what the soldiers look like after being in this prison. Those are people that are alive. They survived the prison. But that is how Andersonville, which was a prison in the South, and there was a northern prison that was just the same way, how we treated each other's prisoners during this war. And photography allowed people to actually see this after the war was done. That's a place called Andersonville. There's actually a movie called Andersonville that deals with this. Photography, ladies and gentlemen, made a big impact on people's perceptions of war.